A lot of times, especially the rookie, the student, the newbie, the person that's done very little drawing, when we draw the figure, we kind of draw this little, there's the head, and here's the arm, and there's a foot, a leg, here's the other leg, here's the other arm, you know. And for the rookie and for the beginner or whatever, that's pretty good. It doesn't have a lot of real artistic quality to it, you know, but it is okay for the novice. But in the study of anatomy, in the study of drawing, especially for the program that you're all in, most of you that is, we have to think of the form in a different manner. That's flat. Okay. That kind of looks like it belongs in the men's room door, you know, and we have to kind of think of the figure, think of these forms in 3 dimensions. Okay, I've created a cube, which is nothing more than a square given a 3rd dimension. And of course, even if a square has 3 dimensions, depending on our viewpoint of it, it's going to look different. Because you can have a 3-dimensional square, but if the square that has 3rd dimension goes directly behind it, you still wouldn't see the depth of it. You wouldn't understand that it's got thickness. When we study the figure, we have the anterior view, which is front. We have the posterior view, and we all know that word, you know, the posterior. You have the lateral view, which is either the right or left side. Okay. When we study the figure, I've seen this many times. We're going to deal with the structure of the figure, and I'm going to talk a lot about the skeleton and some about the muscles. Meaning, and for the main reason that one of the problems once again, the novice has, the rookie, the beginner has, is sometimes not getting enough structure into the figure drawing. We will end up with the outline more because that's what we did as a little kid oftentimes. We do the outlines of shapes. We all did the leaves when we were kids. You know, Thanksgiving turkey. Remember that one? You know, all that cool stuff. We have to kind of remember always that the 3-dimensional qualities are always there. A lot of times, you know, if I'm looking at just the rib cage, and the ribs are the human ribs, as we see them right here, are very similar to an upside-down egg. Because it's, well, not an upside-down egg, but an egg which has a skinny side and a fat side. And the rib cage, as you see straight on in the view we have here, the plan view, is smaller at the top and wider at the bottom. There's a lot of the human body has those characteristics, by the way. The head is wider at the top and thinner and skinnier at the front or at the bottom. Okay. The leg itself, the tibia, comes to a point for the most part, wider in the back. The leg is thinner in the front. There's a lot of characteristics like that. I'll talk a lot about those things as we go through the quarter. The novice, first of all, there's the hole for the rib, the neck, once again, and then there's the secondary, the major bone of the rib cage, which is the sternum. And I'll get into another drawing of this in a few minutes, but this is my little quickie thing. The sternum, center line, important bone of the body. We're symmetrical creatures. We have a right and left side, and the sternum breaks it in half. And you always can feel it. It's on all of us. I've seen people, what happens to this is, if you think of the rib cage on an egg again for a moment there, and you draw the rib cage, and all it is a simple shape like this. This will disappear because we don't really need it. And so that's our rib cage. And what happens oftentimes is as I said, we study this. We go to our books, and all of you have books and drawings of anatomy now, and there's the hands that you're studying, things like that. You're studying this view and this view and this view. You know, you're looking at all the views. And then when we come to do the life drawing part, which we will actually do today as I promise. Quite often we draw the figure, and just because we've drawn this and we sort of know that skeleton, we sort of, like a lot of people, draw what we know. We remember this because I've been looking at this for some time. I remember it that way. And so no matter how the model is posing, well, I'm going to draw from memory more. I'm safe that way because I studied that and I know it's right. It's in a book, right? You know, it's in a book. Something must have been right. You know, and so I've seen people that if the figure rotates, the figure's on an angle. Let's see, the head is here. The head is here. And the torso, we're looking down on the torso. So the ribs, the shoulders are going to be here. And so we have this three-dimensional quality. And the ribs go back this way. The body is tilted. The back is doing this, by the way. The spine is doing this. Back is tilted. I know because of the position and the aspect of the character. Here's the shoulders. The hips are down here. And if I make a box for those, you'll understand the position of the hips more so. This is the neck is here, and it's going to come out of this. I don't know if we call this an inlet or an outlet. I guess in this case an inlet, the neck hole here. That bone there in this position, because what's going on here straight on, but the position of this figure is rotated this way and tilting down. Okay. The sternum, the rib cage, is one big unit. And I'll talk about big units and things when we talk a little bit about the hand today. The rib cage doesn't, it flexes, which is why we have the cartilage. Armor plating for the ribs, not the ribs, but the heart and the lungs, of course. But it doesn't do anything other than that. Okay, it doesn't move. In other words, this arm moves and has total flexibility. The ribs don't do anything but go in and out just a little bit. And so that center line is always going to be on center. It's one of those things that I'm going to talk about now about structure. You can guarantee it. You can count on it. Certain elements of the body, anatomically, you can count on. The structure and the rib cage, the bones, those are very important factors. The skull, well, it's all bone for the most part. A little bit of fat on the outside, not on the inside. Elbows. Hear that? It's bone. Something hard. Biceps, something else. Doesn't make noise, it's a muscle. Okay. Kneecaps, bones. Shoulder blades, bones. Hard points that you can find. They're gonna, when I do a drawing with you today in a little while, I'm going to ask you to come in close and I'm going to virtually demonstrate how important those are. You capture those elements, you put them in the right place, put them in the right order, and all of a sudden it's going to make sense. You know, but once again, we study this, where I'm getting at, we study things flat on, and in this position and aspect, the sternum must go this way. Must go this way, and then the ribs are going to swing down this way, and you're going to see this kind of shape. I've seen untold many individuals draw that rib cage because we studied it that way and we know it that way. There, once again, no matter what position this is in, well, the sternum's got to be right here. Okay, and this shape mimics this one, just because we study it that way. We'll talk about the anatomy. We're going to talk about structure, and I'm hoping that you guys talk on occasion. Right now, I'm lecturing a little, and they'll all the questions in the world you can ask. Congratulations, that makes you smarter. You have to. This isn't just a class where you do the homework assignments and try to make the bones look pretty for Kevin. It's all about trying to figure out, okay, there are bones there, yes, and that they're there for some reason.